We've had a pretty long day now with casting, and it's been really fun. So we've had some stomps, though. I think
Yes.
Team Amazing, they did play well the first game, but they got pretty much stomped the second game. But I think overall it's been fun to cast though, fun matches, especially with
Yeah,
the Elder
yeah. The
Titan ending.
matches have been fun, even though it has been a little one-sided. It's still fun.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Radiant team
And we'll
ban.
see.
All right.
Radiant team are banning first here,
Yes. All Wangs, all mid.
and they even have a logo.
And they ban Nature's Prophet like everybody else. Everyone
Yeah,
bans Nature's Prophet.
it's
No one wants to go up against that split push.
he's been the most common first ban for us, definitely.
Yeah. But seriously, no, you do not want to play against that split push.
I agree.
It's really annoying.
10
Yeah,
seconds remaining.
it's just dangerous. I mean, he
Yeah.
gets up some
5
farm, he gets a
seconds
Shadow
remaining.
Blade, and he just pushes.
Radiant team ban.
Yeah, and lifesteal as well.
Classic
You
ban
do,
out.
yeah, you don't want to go up
Dire
against a
team
lifestealer.
ban.
He only needs an armlet, and then he just goes on a killing spree.
Yeah. The only life sealer we've seen so far, though, they lost the game, so
Yes.
technically for us.
10
We don't
seconds.
have a
10
high win rate
seconds
with
remaining.
lifestealer so far, but I think
5
that's because he's
seconds
banned a lot
remaining.
though.
I agree. And
And
Trend Protector being banned out,
Radiant
that's not a
team pick.
common ban.
no, and he did get rather nerfed in
Yeah,
6.79.
especially that
So
living armor.
yeah, so it's not really that common of a pick anymore.
I agree, I agree.
So I really wouldn't favor banning him, nor would I really favor banning the Batrider after his nerfs as well.
No, I think so
But
too. I think
10
I think
yeah,
seconds.
now
Batrider has really lost his that power that he used to have in mid.
5
yeah,
seconds remaining.
and they first pick
Dire
a
team pick.
Warlock, followed by a Wisp.
Dire
All
team
right,
pick.
I am thoroughly confused.
I think the IO, that's an interesting pick after that nerf, and we'll see if they can really utilize him or
Yeah,
it.
he was nerfed a lot. However, it seems like Fnatic has shown us that he's still viable. He can still
Yeah,
be
Radiant
used.
team pick.
However, the Warlock first pick I am extremely confused about because as we've said, he has been nerfed and he's been nerfed a lot. His
I agree.
ult does not do as much as you'd want it to anymore. And then Ursa.
Radiant
Alright,
team ban.
I
this
do like
game
the.
is not gonna be a normal game.
I agree. I do like the Ursa pickup because I think Ursa is a fun hero to watch. But it'll be
Yeah.
interesting. I mean, I think Ursa would have been even better
Dire
for
team ban.
Blazing Proletariats with the Wisp. I think Ursa Wisp is kind of a fun combo.
Yeah. However, I like Ursa pick as well. I do enjoy seeing Ursa. However, I don't like him being picked this early in the draft. I
I
mean,
think yeah, I agree.
there is no
10
way
seconds remaining.
that BRZ is gonna actually ban the Ursa.
Yeah, I don't
5
think so too.
seconds remaining.
I
I
mean,
think
he's not picked usually in competitive games, and
no,
he's not a tier
Radiant
one pick
team ban.
essentially.
no, not at all. But the thing is, if you want to pick unusual heroes, then you pick them late because they won't be banned. And if you pick them early, your opponents can counter them in some way. I know for a fact that Viper
10
works
seconds
really well
remaining.
against Ursa, and Viper has been fairly popular recently.
Dire team
Yeah,
ban.
yeah, that kiting power that Viper has, and that poison just slowing him down. He's not in the. He's getting. That's a hard counter against the Ursa. Viper overall is a very good hero, but really bashes down the Ursa.
Yeah.
Dire team
And we
pick.
have both Enigma and Tidehunter being banned, two heroes that are their main strength is their ultimates, being
Yeah.
big AoE ultimates that can completely turn a team fight around, and Naga being a really strong support. And we have a Dragonite being picked.
Radiant
Okay, so
team
another
pick.
Dragonite. It might be so that we'll see the IO Dragonite combo trying to get some farm up on
Dire team
Dragonite and
pick.
perhaps having him benefit from that IO tether.
Yeah, and we have
Radiant
a Lich
team
pick,
pick.
which seeing Lich being picked this late in a draft is kind of strange to me.
Yeah, I agree. We've seen him picked first a lot, but
Yeah.
I think with this lineup that I'm seeing right now, we might either see the IO Dragonite tri-lane on top, or we'll see the Lich in mid, depending on
Yeah.
what BRM picks up, BRZ even picks up as
10
next.
seconds remaining.
And it's at Bane.
Dire team
Well, first of all, I like the Clockwork pick against the Wisp because you can actually cog exactly next to where the Wisp is relocating. And heroes like Dragonite, which needs to get at least fairly close. His range is alright, but it's not really that long.
Yeah,
So cogging him away is definitely a possibility. It's the same with Darkseer, really. And the Bane also works really well at shutting down lineups with that focuses on one core.
yeah,
And looking at the lineup from BRC right now, Dragonite is going to be that core.
yeah. I definitely agree with that. We saw Dragonite in the middle last game, so they could pick up another carry to go for the safe lane farm with a Dragonite in mid to get more of a 2-core. But I still think that Bane is a really good pickup against this lineup.
Yeah, Bane provides a lot of work done, and the ban Nyx.
team
So they probably assume either that a mid Nyx is going to be run or that Warlock is going to be run in the mid lane.
Yeah,
And well, I don't really like. Well, I don't really like Warlock in general in 6.79, but seeing him run as a support
5
is
seconds
not really something I enjoy.
and a
So I
PL
would
being
prefer
banned
the mid
out.
Warlock.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we do see a PL ban now, which I'm not sure I agree with. I don't think that was what they're looking for, and there was just Slardar instead,
Radiant
which,
team
That's
as
very
I said,
interesting.
I definitely think it's interesting, but it kind of widens their core at least, and I think this will be a Dragonite in middle lane. I'm not sure though.
Yeah, most definitely there would be a Dragonite mid. The question is, will they send Clockwork mid to face a Dragonite, or will they pick a mid hero now?
Yes, that will be very interesting indeed. We've seen a couple of Miranas being run off lane, but I don't
Yeah,
think Mirana will.
and
And
there we see
Viper!
a Viper actually Viper from the team I didn't expect to pick Viper.
Yeah.
However, I do
So,
like the Viper, especially with
me too.
most lineups that uses the Wisp focus on speed, the speed you
Yes,
get from Tether. And the slow from Viper's ultimate is extremely strong against all kinds of speed-based lineups.
I agree. I agree.
And together with the Ursa as well, one big problem Ursa has is that he can be kited, and he can be kited pretty easily. But when Viper slows them down, then they can't escape the bear.
I agree. Definitely. So, let's present the teams. On the Radiant side, we have Bear playing the Ursa, fittingly enough. We have Rorozoro playing the Viper. We have Ransom Time playing Warlock. We have Void playing the Clockwork, and Wicked playing the Bane.
Indeed. And on the Dire side, we have Forceful Penetration taking up the Dragonite. Cause I'm Superman playing the Slardar. Augu taking the Wisp. Forward on the Darkseer. And on Lich we have Legend.
And right now we're seeing the Lich is rotating to the bottom lane. Perhaps it's just for the wards, but it would be very interesting to see a Darkseer and a Lich lane combo. I don't think that wouldn't really be working, but it would be interesting nonetheless.
I don't really like seeing Darkseer in dual lanes because he's extremely level dependent. You usually see Darkseer waiting quite a bit before taking up the ultimate, so he needs the levels and he needs them fast.
Yes,
And when it comes to Lich, I prefer this first sacrifice to be done in the mid lane, giving giving the mid a slight advantage as well as a little more XP now after the change.
yeah. We also see the Wisp denying the invisibility rune on the top lane. And we do actually see a lane combo with Lich and Darkseer right now. We have Sacrifice up. He hasn't used Sacrifice yet. And the Bane is rotating in, spotting him out, and just trying to chase him off a bit. We also have the Bane and the Ursa on the bot lane, so we'll see how Ursa can handle that Ion Shell harass.
Yeah, I don't really like the way Lich is playing right now. Not only is he dual laning with the Darkseer, but he waited really long before using Sacrifice, and he used it within the XP range of the opponents, sharing the
Yeah,
XP with them as well.
yeah, that's not a good call. We also have a dual lane on the top lane with the Clockwork and the Warlock, which I think could work better, even though we're used to seeing the Clockwork being run as a solo offlaner. I think that could actually work in their favor, depending on how much harass the Warlock can actually push out towards the Slardar.
Yeah, the problem with running dual lanes with carry as well as Wisp is that when you get harassed, there's not really much you can do about it. You can't really harass them back. Wisp does have the spirits, but he does then if he wants to use them frequently, he needs another mana regen, and he doesn't really have that at the start of the game. So these guys will be harassed a lot, especially by that Warlock.
Yeah, definitely. And we also see that there's a bit of a combat on the bottom lane. The Lich is taking quite some heavy damage, and I do really like the Ursa taking some damage, but the Ursa, I think, the Darkseer kind of made a mistake and put the Iron Shell on his own creep, which is kind of an easy counter for the Ursa, who simply can pop his overpower and just mash it down.
Yeah. And another problem the Ursa has is that he did not buy a lot of regen. And playing versus a Lich, you will take a lot of harass. There's just no way to stop that.
I also saw that they weren't exactly sure about the new Tango system, since Bane tried to give them just solely give them to him. But here we go. Bane accidentally attacks the Lich and gets nightmared himself. So that's not a very good thing. But here we see Ursa just mashing down the Iron Shell creep again. So
yeah, the thing with Bane is that if he actually takes the nightmare himself, he can just turn it off.
Oh yes.
Something they added a few patches ago. Looking at the last hit, Viper is taking the lead, and this mid lane is gonna be fairly dominated by the Viper. That poison attack just makes him such an incredibly strong laner.
Yes, definitely. You see that the Dragon Knight though has 9 creep kills so far, so he's trying to hold his own at least, but it's tough against that poison attack, as you said.
Yeah. The problem with Viper though is that he doesn't have at this point he doesn't really have any mana regen, and he needs to get that fairly quickly if he wants to be able to keep the poison attacks up.
Yeah. We'll see if he's gonna pick up a bottle or if he's gonna be lucky and spot out that regeneration rune on the top lane.
Yeah, but we also see with Ursa now, we see the problem with the shared tangos. They have a 60-second cooldown, so he cannot regen, and he has taken a lot of damage from this Lich.
He's trying to go in for the last hit, but it's tough, so he's gonna fall behind until he can get some regen by himself. Bane, with a low range, can't really out-harass the Lich, who keeps on using that Frost Blast to just push down the Ursa.
Yeah. A problem with Lich though is that he doesn't seem to understand that he needs to spam the sacrifice, and he needs to do it outside of opponent's XP range.
Yeah, I agree
it's like
with that.
It's like he's not really familiar with the changes Lich had in 6.7.9.
Yeah,
which we saw that with the Bane as well before with the tango sharing.
Yeah. So a bit of inexperience coming into play here, and I do think it feels like that spell is just a waste of space right now. He's had 2 waves past him, and he has done nothing with it.
Yeah. A really big mistake from Lich. Even before, he should always use it so he just keeps his mana up. But disregarding that, looking at the mid lane, Viper actually found a regen rune. So he got his mana back up to full, and now he purchased a Ring of Basilius, which will be flying out shortly, I would assume.
Yeah. Now he gets level 6. Is he perhaps? There comes the ultimate out on the Dragon Knight. He is slowed, he's taking the damage, and we see the Nether Toxin with that. It's just so much damage. That Nether Toxin is so potent in the early game together with his ultimate.
Yeah.
So great job there by Viper. A bit lucky with the regen rune, but the best players have some luck as well.
Yeah, that Nether Toxin just shows how much damage it really does. Extremely painful and really hard to deal with. Looking at the top lane, the Slardar doesn't really have any problems with regen so far. However, Warlock didn't. He has a Ring of Basilius, but doesn't really have any mana regen other than that, which makes it difficult for him to continue harassing constantly, which is pretty much what he needs to do in the laning phase.
I agree. And we also saw that Slaughter has picked up a Ring of Health a while ago, so he has no trouble regenning up the Shadow Word damage, which Warlock has been putting out a bit.
Yeah. And yeah,
Ursa also picking up a Ring of Regen, so
we actually
he's
see
trying to
some.
get some regeneration up, and so he can stay on the lane.
The Lich was actually nightmared in bottom lane, but they didn't follow up on it, so nothing really happened.
Yeah, I
However,
think they're
we
scared
still
of the
see
Drugseer.
we still see the sacrifice not being used by the Lich, and this is hurting them really, really much.
Bottom tower
Yeah, they
is
could
under
easily
attack.
dominate the lane in an entirely different manner if he had that up a whole lot more often.
Yeah, and we actually see that Ursa has taken a lot of. He's taken too much damage, which forced him to go to the jungle, and by that we see Bane is actually getting more XP than the Ursa, which is not good at all.
Yeah,
And at the same time, Lich is also getting more XP than the Dogster, even without using sacrifice.
yeah. It will be interesting to see. The Lich has actually purchased a ring of Regen, so he's going for those Regen boots. Now they're scouting into the forest to see if they can find the Ursa. And the Dragonite is rotating to the bottom lane with a double damage rune in his bottle. So Ursa with kind of low HP, and oh, he's the Bane has purchased a salve for him, but as we said before, you can't pool it, so he has to give it to the Bane so he can use it on him.
And he would be a taught out here.
Ursa running into the forest and he's being stunned by the Dragonite. He gets frost blasted. He tries to hit them with his overpower, but it's too little, too late, and he goes down easily. Meanwhile, on the top
Looking top
lane,
lane.
the Slaughter is getting very close to being dying. He pops his sprint and runs away just barely from that clockwork, but he's gonna catch out the IO instead. Is he gonna get the kill? Yes, they get the kill on the IO, and perhaps that's it for the Slaughter. Slaughter tries to help the IO, but instead he goes down to the Warlock. So now Warlock is level 6, and so is Clockwork. Nice job by them on the top lane. So a bit of back and forth there. So
That's a huge mistake from the Slaughter, actually, just turning around there and running straight into the clock.
yes,
Actually, looking at the stun from Slaughter, the range is actually much longer than you would expect. It has
I agree.
350 radius,
And now we see that
so it's
the
quite.
Ursa TP down to the tower, which is now damaged,
Dire's
and
middle tower
Bane pops his
is under
ulti on the Dragonite, but the Ursa is not there and he has no boots. He's so slow that he can't really do anything. Now he runs in again, he pops that Earth Blast, he gets stunned by the Dragonite, and Darkseer and Lich are very low on mana, so here comes the chasing. We see a Nightmare coming up on the Darkseer. The Overpower is popped. Are they going to be able to kill the Darkseer? He pops his Surge and runs away. Lich has that sacrifice off cooldown, but he's not using it. And here comes the Viper, so strong. He pops his ulti on the Lich. He has gotten down the Darkseer, but also Slaughter rotating in. Ursa a bit going in a bit deep. He still hasn't got any boots. We see the slow from the Viper, and no, they're getting a bit creep locked, and they're gonna decide to back off.
Yeah, that was really chaotic. There was a nice TP in from Slaughter, though, managing to stop the Viper and actually saving the life of the Lich.
Yeah,
So it was
I
nicely
agree
done
with
from
that.
him. Lich is now level 6. Darkseer is not, however.
is under attack.
And if the Lich actually would have used Sacrifice every time it was off cooldown, I think he would have been at least level 7 at this point.
Yeah, and he would have had mana in that last fight to really make a difference.
Yeah. So not really knowing the changes in 6.79 hurts them a lot this game, actually.
Yeah, we do see 4 people from all Wangs all mid on the bottom lane, while Clockwork is farming out on the top, and Clockwork is getting really close to a mechanism, about 900 gold. Okay, that's still a bit of gold, but about 900 gold away. And there we see Dragonite initiating with the stun from the long range, which he gets from the ulti, and Slaughter running in as well with the sprint and the stun, but he hasn't got his amplified damage, and they can't just DPS Clockwork down. Clockwork just says, no, I'm just gonna run away. He gets the armor from the buckler and the region from the headdress, so he has some pretty solid defense right now.
Yeah, exactly. He's getting with the buckler. He's just really tanky together with the stout shield and the strength treads. So not really enough. We see the Ursa actually finishing his Vlads before going for boots, and he got a smoke as well. So he will be smoking into Roshan fairly soon.
I think so too. Fair to say. Clockwork actually pulled that smoke, so all Wangs only trying to pull and use their gold as a team. And here we go. They're gonna get the Ursa down here now for. Oh, they get the Wisp with the brain sap, but Ursa also goes down. So kill going the way of blazing proletariats. Sorry. And,
Not forced penetration. That is the Dragonite.
exactly, that's the Dragonite.
Wonderful name, I have to say.
I agree.
Was really nicely done from Bane there, though. He actually dodged the Lich ultimate, the first bounce, by
Yes.
nightmaring himself.
Yes, very well done. It did hit the Ursa, but they were so close from the beginning, and with no boots on Ursa, it's hard to escape.
Yeah. So very well done. Actually getting the Wisp before the Ursa died is really important, and it really does a lot for them.
Yeah, that's a solid chunk of gold for both of those heroes, and some nice exp for two of them.
Yeah. And the Ursa wants to smoke in now. Darkseid ran past, and now they're going in, both Bane and Ursa. Not really sure the Bane needs to follow him in there. Not really a necessity, but no, he does back off and tries to defend. Top lane, meanwhile, is getting pushed, and we see a hook from the clock.
He hooks in, but Slardar pretty low on health, and he has his ultimate now. And here comes the stun from Warlock. That's a really good ultimate from Warlock, even though they can't catch out the Slardar. That sprint makes him so quick, and Warlock with very low health, living dangerously and getting amplified damage. And we're gonna see if Viper can do something now. Slardar with low HP, is he gonna get killed? Yes, he gets killed by the Viper, and now Viper very close to getting the Dragon Knight. And the Warlock Golem can finish him off, but Rocket from the Clockwork does the trick. Bane now coming in, taking out that poor little Io with both a Brain Sap and his ultimate. So nice rotation there up from the middle lane by Bane, and all in all, I think it's going slightly the way of all Wangs on mid there. They're getting the pickoffs they want.
Yeah, and Ursa took the Roshan. Meanwhile, the thing about it really was a nice ultimate from the Warlock. However, if that was a pre-nerf ultimate, he would have killed both of them instantly.
Yeah.
So you really see the changes, the effect they're having.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think the ulti was still very good and made them they got a kill thanks to it. But still, as you say, that nerf really coming into play.
Yeah, and we see the mech actually finishing up for Clockwork now. He's gonna be really hard to bring down, and he's gonna do a lot in team fights. So I think at this point, as soon as Ursa finishes his treads, I say all Wangs all mid should be looking for team fights. We even see a Vanguard being finished on Viper right now. So all the items are really coming together. So I say they should really try to look for a fight now.
I agree. They're tanking up, and they have. I mean, Bane as a supporter in himself, in his own right, he is quite tanky since he has that Brain Sap, he has the Nightmare, he has his ultimate. And here we go, it's an initiation on Dragon Knight. It's a rocket, it's a slow, it's a Brain Sap, and he goes down quickly.
Yeah, and Io actually TP'd in to see if he could help, but there was just no way. He went down incredibly quickly there.
Yeah,
the DPS from the Viper and the Bane is just together. That's a lot of burst damage.
With pure, it's kind of a nice combo. The Brain Sap giving out 300 pure damage, that helps the Nether Toxin early on very much, especially against someone who is Dragonite, who is a fairly tanky hero, who otherwise takes kind of a lot of physical damage to bring down.
Yeah, and just the Nether Toxin just shows it's so incredibly strong.
Definitely. Meanwhile, this has given a bit of room to the Ursa, who has now picked up face boots as well, but I really think, as you said, they should be trying to push with the Ursa as well. Now that he has the ages up, I think they could really try to use him in some team fights, because Ursa, even though he's not item dependent to be really strong.
Oh, Dragonite mid lane.
Dragonite going up and he's gonna get ulted by the Bane. There's a rocket, and look at that damage from Viper. It's so incredible. And here comes the ulti from Lich. It's a good ultimate, but they spread fairly well, and that ulti is still gonna bounce though between Warlock in the middle, who unfortunately bounces it to his teammates. We do see an ultimate coming out there from the Viper and from the Warlock, but Warlock goes down, and now Slardar rotating in, Lich having low HP, and we see a hook shot from the Clockwork. He has popped his battery assault, and that's gonna bring down the Slardar. Lich barely escaping with low HP, being tethered by the Wisp, and Darkseer escaping as well. But that's both the two core heroes for Blazing Proletariat to escape. No, who die, sorry.
Who dies, yes. it was a really good Lich ultimate. A bit of miscoordination from all Wangs on mid. They could have disjointed it a bit earlier. However, just when they were about to, it was a really nice vacuum from the Darkseer,
Yeah,
pulling two of them back in, and which forced the Warlock to actually take too many hits and die.
yeah,
But we should also remember that was a fight without the Ursa, and
yeah.
that's an Ursa with a Vlad's and an Aegis.
I agree. And we still have. It was a really nice pick off first for Bane as well. Getting that ultimate on the Dragonite, who unfortunately goes up the cliff without any vision and gets picked off. I mean, that's a kill for 4 of the players on All Wangs Almaid.
Yeah. Yeah, so they're doing really well so far. The Ursa standing, trying to find anyone to pick off. The question is what Ursa will go for next. Usually we see something like either a Shadow Blade or a Blink Dagger for the mobility, but we'll see what Bear chooses to do.
Yeah. And Lich has actually picked up a pair of drums now, so that's kind of a nice pickup. It gives some more mobility to the entire team, which is nice, and to Lich as well. Lich now actually being really speedy with the drums and his tranquil boots. And a mech out on
Yeah.
Darkseer, which is a really big item for them as well.
And the Bane actually purchases a Blink Dagger.
He's really gonna try to utilize that ultimate.
Yeah, that Bane is really farm, finishing Soul Ring, Arcane Boots, and Blink in 17 minutes.
That's
And at the same time, the Dragonite trying to go Shadow Blade, but he just has no farm. He's died too many times.
yeah.
He died 4 times. And the same with the Slaughter. He has no farm at all, and that's the course of the lineup.
Yeah, Slardar is. Oh, if I mean, we see that Dragonite is a bit. Yes, he's behind and he doesn't get the farm. Slardar only has a ring of health. I'm not sure if he's gonna try to go for a Vanguard, which personally is. It's not a favorite item of mine on Slardar, but perhaps it's a needed pickup against this lineup.
It's probably for a Vanguard. However, a Vanguard should be an item you get early on. Getting
Yes.
it post 20 minutes it's almost completely worthless at that point.
I agree.
So with right now, he should just try to steer away to get a BKB. I would say BKB. No, actually, BKB is actually a horrible item. Looking at the lineup of all ranks all mid, they have double lockdown through, actually triple lockdown through BKB, as well as a lot of physical damage. So I would say
an
he should.
initiation here though. Viper actually trying to go on the Lich, but he gets caught out, and that's a great Lich ulti which bounces between the entire team, but he doesn't get them down. It's just not enough, and instead the Dragonite goes down. The Bane uses a Blink Dagger and manages to catch the Lich, and that's gonna be it for the Lich. I think they're trying to chase down the Slaughter as well, but they can't catch him out. So a really great team fight for all Wangs all mid with a great initiation. Even though it was a great counter initiation by Lich, the Blazing Proletariats just couldn't get things done.
Exactly. The early mech from the clock and the just overall tankiness of the lineup from all ranks on mid just shows here.
Yeah.
That was a great Lich ultimate. All bounces hit really nicely, but it still wasn't enough to get him down.
And
what I was trying to say,
Yeah,
what
go
I was trying to say before, that pretty much the Slaughter pretty much has to go for an omelet right now.
Yeah, I think that's a better pickup, definitely. We do see Viper living a little bit dangerously, but he's kind of tanky, and he's going a BKB now, which I think it's an okay item. He gets he doesn't get hit by a lot of stuns, but it's not the best item in my opinion.
Yeah, there are several stuns on the lineup from on the Dire lineup. However, he's not really the target for them, so I wouldn't say it's necessary to get BKB, at least not at this point in the game. I think he should rather go for some damage item like a Man style.
Yeah, I think so too. I think a Yasha at least would be a really nice pickup. Gives him some more mobility, gives him some more attack speed. It really works with his character in general.
The Slaughter does
that-
finish his Vanguard right now.
Yeah, Dragonite teleporting down to try and defend that tower, but he gets picked off by the Bane ultimate, and Ursa is gonna finish him off. Warlock though, however, but Warlock manages to escape. He was so close to dying, but manages to escape, and now we see the Slaughter being picked off as well. No, Slaughter manages to escape. He got enfeebled, and I think there was actually some miscoordination with the Nightmare and the ultimate
that was a
from
big
Viper.
miscoordination. The Bane actually nightmared as the Viper ulti was flying towards the Slardar, and
Yeah,
it
so that
actually got
negated it
dismounted.
entirely. Exactly.
Has fallen.
But regardless, they win the team fight
Middle tower is under
pretty handedly, and now they can just push into the racks.
Yes.
The members from the Dire are respawning, but at this point they can't really do that much.
Slaughter now picking. Oh, there we go. That was a quick kill on Io.
Yeah, the Viper is just way too powerful. The Slaughter did finish his Vanguard,
tower is
but it was at 20 minutes. A 20-minute Vanguard is not that good. Looking at the Viper, he had like a 15-minute Vanguard, and that's really what you should look for rather than the other one.
I agree. Now we see that the Roshan will be spawning very soon, if I'm not reading this timer entirely wrong. And also pretty
Jesus.
odd. Bless you. That's the word I'm looking
Thank
for.
you.
We see that Darkseer has this. Oh, that's a missed hook shot. He hits the creeps instead. But here comes the Nightmare, and that's gonna be finished off with a brain sap. So
Yeah.
Darkseer goes down, and Roshan has now spawned. But what I was saying earlier, Darkseer already has a mechanism, and Io has picked up a headdress. Perhaps he's going for
Dire's
a
middle
pipe,
tower is under
but
attack.
I'm not sure that's the item you want to go for.
He could go for a pipe, however, I would not approve of it. There is magic damage, sure, but not enough to actually warrant a pipe coming up. Instead, I would like to see something like a halberd, maybe. But pretty much regardless of what he chooses to go for, his farm is way too low at this point to actually finish
Yeah.
an item in general. And we see Ursa taking down Roche by himself, no
Easily.
problem. He has purchased a Blink Dagger, actually, to be able to initiate better. And
Bit
what
more
I
of
would
an
leave,
old school Ursa build.
yeah. Well, Ursa in general is not played very often, so it's
Yeah.
hard to say what's really standard and not. And Clockwork being actually
Yeah.
getting killed right
He
here.
gets stunned, frost blasted, and there comes the spirits from Io. So he takes a lot of damage pretty quickly, and they manage to get a nice pick off.
Yeah, I
Right.
really liked what the IO did there. It looked like the Clockwork one really wanted to try to hook out of there to his own creeps, but IO completely blocked that, so it was nicely done from him.
Yeah, I agree. We do see that they're very far behind still, though. All Wangs and all mid are almost 20k ahead in XP, and they're above 15k, around 16, 17k in the gold. But here we go. Bane is gonna get picked off, but he nightmares himself, but he goes down to the Darkseer. So they get a tower and they get another pick off. Nicely done by Blazing Proletariats, getting some things done at least.
Yes, this is pretty much what they have to do at this point. They have to split push, and they have to get pickoffs. They need the farm, they need XP, and most importantly, they need to shut down the opponent team. Now, Bane and Clock is really not who they actually want to take down. However, they are still good, of course. Looking
Yeah.
at the Bane, he's actually almost finished at BKB at this point, and the Clock has almost finished an Aghanim Scepter. Pretty much everyone on the Radiant team is having great farm.
Yeah, and we know that it's so strong for them to finish off those items. It will really help them in the team fights.
Yeah.
And
The
now we see
ones
the Darkseer are going for a pipe, so I'm not sure what Io is going with that headdress, if he's even gonna go anything with it. But
I think
don't
it's
agree
just,
with
I
the
think it's
pickup.
miscommunication.
I think so too.
I simply think it's miscommunication. However, I don't actually agree with the pipe pickup at all.
Yeah,
They
me
don't
either.
need pipe at this point. They need something with bigger impact. And they really
They're rotating into
need
the mid,
to.
and they're gonna spot out. Oh, they're spotting out the Ursa, but he blinks towards the Io, and now he's gonna get tether slowed by them. And he gets stunned down by the Slardar, but he has so much damage, and that's another nice Lich ulti now bouncing between Clockwork and Warlock, while Ursa goes down. But he has the Aegis, and now we see the Lich being nightmared. It's a nice hook shot onto the Lich by the Clockwork, and they're gonna pick off Lich. Slardar gets ultied by the Bane, and here comes the slow from Warlock as well, and the BKB is spawned from Viper, and there we see the Shadow Blade from the Dragon Knight together with a Surge. However, Clockwork rotating in, and yes, he's gonna find the Darkseer, so they're gonna pick up the Darkseer, and Wisp is just gonna slowly try to move out as well as the Dragon Knight. So once again, a huge team fight in favor of all Wangs all mid.
Yeah, the Clockwork actually managed to finish his Aghanims just before the team fight, and without that, I don't think they would have gotten that last kill. So really important pickup for the Clock.
I
And
think
at
so
this
too.
point, they can pretty much just push into the base and take the Rex down because there's almost nothing that can be done from the Dire team.
Yeah, and Ursa now picking up a Basher as well, so he's gonna be really tough to deal with for the core of the Blazing Proletariats. We see that they try to blink and initiate on the Dragon Knight, but he just Shadow Blades out and runs away. No dust pickoffs or sentry pickoffs yet from all Wangs all mid. Perhaps they don't really care about it, but I think that at least one person would want to have had those items.
Yeah, they really should get some kind of dust or something similar to that, but at this point, doesn't change all too much. We just see the Dire team trying desperately to defend the oncoming push.
Yeah, this is most likely their last stand. Lich now picking up a recipe for the buckler. This is huge miscommunication for Blazing Proletariats with 3 people basically trying to build into a mechanism. That's not the way you
Yeah.
want your supports to build.
No, that's actually really strange. It happens from time to time to see 2 mechs, but 3 mechs, that's too much. I've never really seen that amount of miscommunication in a game before.
We do see now that they're gonna try and kill Ursa, but Ursa, he manages to get down the IO before he falls, thanks to a great hookshot by Clockwork. Now they're getting down the Slaughter as well, and the Bane ulti on Dragon Knight. It's just too much. And now we see the Viper trying to slow down the Lich, and a wall coming out from Darkseer to protect him. And the Viper instead decides to back off instead of trying to go into the game.
Yeah, I actually think the Viper could have dove that a bit, but he wants to play it safe. The Ursa getting picked off is of course not really good, but they got so many heroes in return that it was. I would say it was actually worth it for all Wangs all mid.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're slow pushing the tower. They don't really have any stress. They're keeping the Dire inside their base, and while building items themselves, the Bane actually finishes his BKB now. So yeah,
That's
this
gonna
is
be
just
really
looking,
tough to deal with.
and the heart is almost finished for the Viper. So yeah, this is just looking worse and worse for the Dire.
I agree with that.
I mean, what I would like to see from the Dire right now, I would like to see a smoke gank trying to find some pickups. However, the problem with that is that the Radiant team are running together. Everyone except Ursa are running around together, so it would actually be really hard to find the pickup that they really, really need at this point.
Yeah. We do see a Clockwork picking up a Sange now as well. And now they're gonna find, the Lich is gonna scout out the Clockwork, and it's a bit of a fog of war battle right now. And Viper getting Frost Blasted, and we see the initiation from the Clockwork, but he has no mana to follow up with Cogs. But there we go, the mana for the Cogs, and they're actually gonna be able to get both Lich and Slaughter, and now Darkseer is in big trouble. He's gonna try to surge, but no, he's not gonna be able to get it in time. Dragon Knight manages to escape with only less than 200 HP, and now the IO is in big trouble. Here comes the Cogs and Viper, and Viper's damage is just too much, and he falls easily.
Yeah, and that's a 4 for Serif. It would have been a 5 for Serif if they had Dust, and that's without the Ursa. The Ursa was not even present for that fight.
Now
This just
Ursa
shows the
comes
lead.
in.
Yeah, this just shows the lead of the Radiant team, and Ursa seems to, which is
I
a good
think so
item,
too.
of course. So yeah, the Dire they're just running out of options at this point. There's
Yeah. Here
have
comes
a
an
small attack.
initiation
They're
on
coming
Ursa,
on the
though.
Ursa. The Ursa,
I'm not sure what he's
a little
doing.
questionable. His decisions are a bit questionable at this point, but
Yeah. But he
But this
falls, at least. We do see
Yeah.
that the Dragon Knight still keeps his level 1 ultimate. I've seen that sometimes, to try to keep the poison instead of getting that fire. since it.
Yes,
Yeah.
but they did change that. I think it was in 6.78. So the red dragon does have poison as well,
Oh.
which actually makes it a pretty bad tactic at this point.
Yeah, if that's the case, then definitely.
So yeah, seems that they're not really very informed. The team, the same with the Lich, not using a sacrifice as much as they should. The mass mechs on the team. I'm not really sure how much experience they really have in Dota.
Yeah, I agree with you. There seems to be